Hello, and welcome back to another Monday makeup video. I'm Jennifer Mata-McMahon. In this video, I'm going to share with you all the primers that I have, my favorite ones, and ones that haven't worked all that great for me, but ones that I also highly recommend. Let's get into it. So I realized in looking at my primers that I have a lot of them. A lot of them for just one face, right? So I have a bunch that are high-end. That was another thing I realized too, is that I have a lot of high-end primers. And then I have a few, just sort of like a handful of ones that are from the drugstore or that are lower-end ones. So I'm going to start with the high-ends because that's the ones that I have the most of, and I will walk you through these primers. So just as a bit of information, my face is normal to combo maybe, because the only area of my face that is oily is my nose, and around my area, the sides of my nose, I have a little bit of texture. So the things that I need to compensate for or use primer for are the oiliness in my nose and the pores or the texture that you can see. And right now my face is acting up. It's not liking me that much, my skin lately, and I think it's because I'm stressed because of everything that's going on in my life right now. But primers tend to help to hide all of those imperfections, and what you do is after your face is cleansed and moisturized and I apply SPF every day, so after that has happened, I go in with a primer. And typically what I'm looking for is a primer that is going to smooth, that is going to hide my pores, that is going to mattify the areas that need mattifying, and that is going to provide a smooth canvas so that then I go in with foundation and apply that on top of the primer. Sometimes I will just apply primer and then concealer and powder on top of that, and that'll be it, and I'll skip the foundation altogether. So I think that that's why for me primer is really important, because it helps smooth out my skin and it provides a really great canvas for makeup application, and sometimes it allows me to avoid foundation or skip over that step. The other thing that primer is used for is to help your makeup stay in place. So some primers provide sort of a stickiness or a tackiness that allows makeup to adhere to it and stay there for a longer period of time. But for that purpose, typically I use setting spray. After my makeup is done, I'll just go in with a setting spray, and that will allow me to prolong the wear of my makeup. But definitely primers will help in that area as well. But let me share with you some of the primers I have, some of my favorites, and the different uses that I give them on my face. So I'm gonna start with, there's some brands that I have several primers from, and some brands that I just have one, and that I might use or not use that much. Another thing that's interesting with primers is that some of them have SPF, some of them don't. I don't have a lot that have SPF, so that's why I go with an SPF before, moisturizer and SPF combination before I go with primer. But I'll show you some of the ones that are a little more hydrating and some of the ones that are a little less hydrating. So let's start with this one. This one is the Bye Bye Pores Primer Oil-Free Poreless Skin Perfecting Serum Primer from IT Cosmetics. And as you can see, I've used quite a bit of it. This one is a little bit more moisturizing. It leaves my skin a little bit more emollient or more moisturized than others. So it's not a mattifying, even though it says it's an oil-free poreless skin perfector. I find that it's not a mattifying one. It does blur the pores a little bit, but not for too long. So as I start applying products on top of it, I feel like the blurring effect disappears. So this would not be a primer that I would repurchase, or that I want to use it up because I bought it and it's not bad, but it doesn't blur as well as some others that I'm going to share with you. So I have that one. The other one that I have that does that same blurring effect but does mattify a little bit is the Pores No More from Dr. Brandt. It's the Pore Refiner Primer. So again, this one doesn't claim to be mattifying, but it does mattify a little bit. and it does blur the pores. I've used this one a ton, and I'm sort of down to this last leg. I have a little sample size one that I'm going to use after this one's done, before I buy another one, and I don't think I'm going to buy another one for a long time because I have so many primers that I want to go through, but it's good. It's a good one, and it does blur your pores. Okay, so the other one that I have from Dr. Brands is a stick one, and I have a little tiny sample size, and I haven't used this one much. I just used it once, and it's one of those you twist it up and the stick comes out, and this also helps to blur. It doesn't mattify, but it blurs, so I like that for that purpose. On that same vein, I have others that are also stick, in the stick form. One of them is my beloved the SD Edit Pore Vanishing Stick, and this one had sort of like a dual, like a vanishing and a moisturizing aspect to it, but it's, as you can see, it's all gone. So I've used it all, and this brand, they don't make this brand anymore. I think you can still find it. I've searched for it online, and I think you can still find it and purchase it, but you can't find this in stores anymore. They don't have it. This one was really good for blurring. Along that same line, and I bought these two at the same time, is the Milk Makeup blurring stick or blur stick, and it also sort of twists up, and you just apply it on your face to blur your pores. This one works well, but it's not my favorite. Between the Estee Edit and the Milk, I prefer this one, and this is why this is all used up. The other brand that also has blurring sticks is Benefit. And from Benefit, I really love the Professional. This one is like in a squeezy tube. This is a small size. I have the bigger size of this. But it's in a squeezy tube, and you just kind of apply it, and it really blurs your pores. It doesn't mattify because it's silicone based, but it does blur your pores. Benefit has the Professional License to Blot one primer, and it comes in a stick. And I've used this one. I like it. It also, you kind of like dab it around your problem areas, and I always go to my nose because that's my problem area, but on the sides of my nose as well. Or anywhere that your pores are enlarged, this will blur, and it has that blurifying effect. This one is a little bit tinted, so it kind of covers a little bit as well. I also have from Benefit this Matte Rescue, the Professional, this Matte Rescue one. This one is like a gel, so it comes out sort of bluish, clearish, and it blurs your pores. It's like a gel, so it feels cooling on the skin. It has a scent to it. It's quite strong. It mattifies. This one mattifies and blurs, which this one, the Professional, the original Professional, only claims to blur, not necessarily mattify. So I use all of these. I like them. This isn't my favorite, although it mattifies. I don't know why. I just don't, I don't know. I haven't used it all that much. I will continue to use this and to form a better opinion. The Professional is wonderful. It blurs like none other, and it's really, really good, which is why I have several. I have like 2 minis in a full size, and I have like several of these in different places, because it really does help mattify. And you can apply this as a primer underneath your foundation, but you can also retouch with this. Like, okay, if now I would go to the mirror and see myself and see that my pores are large and in charge, I could go in with a little bit of Professional and dab it on top of my makeup, and that would work fine. So that's one of the things I like about that primer, that it's you can use it in at different points. One that I've had for a long time is this Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer, and it's a base mattifying primer. The thing with this though is that it's really, really matte, and again, my face is not oily all over, so if I wanted to control oil, I would put this on, just on my nose, and that's what I've used it for. And I forget to use it because it's just for that. It's just for the nose area. It's not, and it doesn't necessarily blur. It just mattifies and controls oil. The other thing that I found is that with mattifying primers, sometimes they do the counter They have the counter effect on the skin. So at the beginning it looks very mattifying, but then later on your oils come out. It's sort of like your skin is saying, oh, we're too matte, oh, let's produce more oil, right? So sometimes mattifying primers have that kind of effect, that you solve the problem initially, but then the skin sort of reacts to there being a barrier or not enough oil being produced, and then more oil is produced afterwards. So that's the other thing. Makeup Forever was the brand from which I bought my first ever primer, and it was a purple primer that sort of color corrected. I was misguided by a Sephora beauty consultant, and she said, oh, you need this because you have yellow undertone, and then this purple will correct and will take that saltiness out of your face, and you will look more alive, and blah, 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 blah. And I used it all up. It took me forever because I was not in the routine, in the habit of wearing primer, but I did use it up since I had purchased it and had it, and it did do something to my skin. It did color correct, but I wasn't necessarily in that color correcting mode. I did buy one that sort of does that from Becca, and what was it, Ulta I think was having a sale, and these were half price. And so I bought them both, and one does this luminosity, gives this luminosity to your face, which is this purple one, and I think that it does something similar to what that Makeup Forever one did for my skin, sort of counteract the yellowness and give luminosity to the skin. And then this one also gives luminosity, but it's more like a moisturizing under the foundation kind of illuminator, which I don't necessarily need or want. So I'm still trying these out and seeing what they do for my skin. They're pricey. I got them half off because of that sale. If not, I don't think I would have paid that amount of money for them, especially because I'm not convinced that my skin needs that. On that vein though, and on that purchase, I got this one also from Becca. And this one is the Ever Matte Poreless Priming Perfector. And I think this is the one that my skin really needs and not the other two. Because it mattifies and it blurs pores. I haven't tried this one because it's brand new and it was in the box still. I have so many other primers that I want to go through that I don't want to try this one, open this one yet. But I think this is the one that's going to be the winner between these guys because this actually does what I need it to do. Other primers that I haven't used is this Too Faced Hangover Replenishes Face Primer, and I think that this is more for dry skin and it kind of moisturizes. I have this little sample. I wanted to try it because I've heard really great things about it, but I think again, and it's a silicone-free primer, again I think it's for drier skins, and my skin isn't necessarily dry. In the winter time I think I will really appreciate this because my skin gets so dry it cracks. So I think I'm going to save this for the winter. But this, I want to mention it because I've heard really, really good things about it. And I trust the people that have given those reviews, so I think that it's probably a good one. Another one that I have that I've used somewhat, I guess I'm like halfway there. But I've had it for a while and I just don't go to it because to me this seems more like skincare than a primer. But this one has blurs, treats, and protects. That's what it claims to do. It's from Murad, and it's Invisiblur Perfecting Shield, and has a broad spectrum SPF of 30. So it does blur. It's sort of silicone based, but it has SPF, so it's a little more moisturizing. It doesn't necessarily mattify. So it blurs, but it doesn't mattify. And it leaves my face feeling, my skin feeling a little bit silky, which is not a bad thing, but again, it doesn't mattify. So it's not that great for my nose. Okay, another brand that I have primers from is Smashbox. And this is my favorite. Of all of the ones that I have shown you so far, I think this is the one that does everything for me because it mattifies and it blurs my pores. It's just the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer Oil-Free Pore Minimizer. So it doesn't claim to mattify, but I think this one does more so than any of the other ones that either claim to mattify or don't, or just claim to blur. So this one does both. From all of the ones that I have, I think this is the one that I like the most to date. I used an entire one of these, and this is a repurchase. So this is my second one. So that shows you how much I really, really like this one. Another one that I have from Smashbox is one that I got as a gift from Andrea Matillano. I won a contest that she was doing, and she threw this in as part of a extra in the price that I had won for her contest, and it's the Smashbox Photo Finish Even Skin Tone Primer. And this one has a little bit of a peachy, color to it. Some got out in the cap, and I've used this one a couple times. And see, it's kind of like this salmony color. It doesn't show up in your skin, so once you blur it in, it really doesn't show up. But it's supposed to, that salmony color is supposed to color correct a little bit. And it blurs. Again, not necessarily mattifying. And the thing is that once they blur, it seems like it's mattifying. And I don't know if you can see that in my skin. So it has mattified a little bit, but it blurs the pores more so than anything. And so I like this one as well. I've been using it and like it. So that is all for my high-end ones. Now for the low-end or the drugstore primers that I have, I only have 3. So I'll show you the ones I have. This one I've had for the longest time. This one's from Maybelline, and it's the Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser. And this one is similar to the Professional. People thought that it was a dupe for the Professional, but this one's silicone based, and it comes out clear. So it comes out very silicone-y. It seems like you're just applying that onto your skin. So it's clear, it blurs, it does a fantastic job at blurring, but it doesn't mattify. And it leaves your skin feeling very slippy. So I've had this one for a long time, and I really don't use it because if I'm going to use one of these, I'll go for the Professional instead of the Maybelline. They both do the same thing. The other low-end or drugstore one that I have, and I've had for a little bit of time now, is the Ordinary one. And this one is called High Adherence Silicone Primer. And it's supposed to blur the surface and smooth and prime the face. And it does. It blurs. And this one comes out white. So if you press a little bit out of it, my hand's going to be so primed after this video. It comes out white. And then you spread it in, and it blurs the pores. This one, I don't think, this one is a silicone primer, but it doesn't have that silicone feel. It feels more like a lotion, like if you're putting a moisturizer on your skin, more so than the Maybelline Baby Skin. That one really feels like silicone. This one feels, again, like a moisturizer. I like this one. This one's the one that I have on today, I believe. And I really like it. I've been using this one this week. It blurs the pores, and it moisturizes the face a little bit. The other one that I have is from e.l.f., and I got this one recently. You might have seen it in the haul that I had from the things that I got recently from e.l.f. It's the Prep and Blur Stick, and it's in sort of like a nude color, but it doesn't go on nude when you apply it. It just goes on clear, and it blurs the skin. Again, it doesn't mattify, so it leaves your skin feeling a little bit moisturized, a little bit tacky, but it does blur the pores. So I was hoping that this would be the replacement for the Estee Edit Pore Vanishing Stick that I consumed. That this would be the replacement, and it sort of is. I haven't used it that much, but it sort of is. It does the same thing. It blurs and it sort of hides my pores. So that's it for my face primers. I thought I'd show you my eyelid primers as well, because once I prime my face, I then go and prime my lids, and then I apply my foundation and my concealer and all my other makeup products. So for my eyelids, I have 2 high-end ones and 2 sort of drugstore ones. And the high-end ones are my beloved Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion, and I have the anti-aging version. And these guys come in like with a doe foot, which is what I like, how I prefer to apply it, and then you just dab it on your eyelids, and with my finger I rub it in and get my eye prepped for eyeshadow. I love this one. This is the second one I've had from this, and I would probably repurchase it again after this one's done. I really like it. The other high-end eyeshadow primer that I use is the one that comes with the Lorac eyeshadow palettes, and I'll put a little clip of it or a photo of it here. I don't have it here for some reason. I thought I did. But that one is also a good one, and it comes with the palettes. If you buy a Lorac palette, it typically comes with an eyeshadow primer, and I've used that one, and it's good. The other 2 that I have are from the drugstore, and they are the Milani Eyeshadow Primer, lightweight invisible finish. It works on all skin tones. It comes out with a little bit of a tint. Mine though, my container has a hole on the side, so when I press it to come out, you can see it comes out on the side, and then it comes out on the tip. So I have so I stopped using it because of that, because it seemed a little messy to me. But it comes out in this nude color, and then you just apply it to your eyelids and rub it in, and you're good to go. It's a really good eyeshadow primer, and it is really inexpensive, and people rave about it. It's in high demand. Everybody loves it. The other one that I've been using, the one that I've been using lately, is this one from Catrice, and it's the Prime and Fine eyeshadow base. And I think they have an illuminating eyeshadow base, and then they have this one that's just Prime and Fine. That is not illuminating, and it has the doe foot that I like, similar to the Urban Decay one, and I just dab that on my eyelids and rub it in, and it sort of mattifies the area, leaves it a little tacky, ready for eyeshadow application. I set my eyeshadow primer too, so that tackiness sort of goes away, because I put a little bit of either a shadow or powder on top of it to set it, and then I put the eyeshadows on top of that powder that set the primer. So I don't mind if it's a little bit tacky. Although sometimes when it's tacky, it's better if you're going to apply shimmers to your eyes, because it really has something to stick to and doesn't have too much fallout or moves around. Shimmery shadow in my eyelids that are inexistent tends to move around. So that's why I need the primer for the lids, to help the shadows sort of stay in place. So yeah, that's it. Those are my primers for both face and eyelids, and the favorite ones, if I had to pick one of each and only that, I would definitely pick the Smashbox for my face as the only primer. If I ran out of everything and just kept one. And for my eyes, if I had to pick one, I would pick the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion Anti-Aging one. Because even though I have been using this one all up, I think that if I had this option, I wouldn't go for this. I would just use this one. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hoped I helped inform your priming purchasing decisions. If you have a skin type like mine that you need to blur pores and mattify certain areas, I think any of these primers would work for you, and I show you my favorites as well. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon. Bye!